Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. So today I have a tag that I made myself, which is really weird because I've been on BookTube for a very long time and I'm someone who doesn't do a lot of tags anymore, but I was kind of inspired today to make up this tag, mostly because I'm seeing everyone post on Twitter and Instagram the like 10-year challenge thing where you post a picture of yourself from 2009 and then you post a picture of yourself from 2019 next to each other so people can like see and compare all that has changed about you or not since then. And some people are even like talking about some of the things they've learned or done in over the course of this past decade. I'm not someone who takes a lot of pictures of myself, so I feel really weird, and I also don't post a lot of pictures of myself, so I felt a little bit weird doing the 10-year challenge with just like photos of myself. I do have photos of myself from 2009. It's the year I graduated, so I can just try to find those. Also, I'm not on Facebook anymore, so it makes it a little bit harder to find the exact photos that you're looking for. But anyways, this is a whole tangent saying I wasn't planning on like doing the 10-year challenge, but then I thought it would be interesting to do like the 10-year challenge in books on Instagram by like pulling out like my favorite books from 2009 and my favorite books from this year. And then I thought I would just make it a tag, and it would be kind of fun to compare and contrast my reading life in 2009 to today. I'm very lucky that I joined Goodreads while I was in college, which was pre 2009 because I graduated in 2009. And so I have a record of my reading life in 2009. I know not everyone has that, but if you would like to do the challenge, you're welcome to like fudge the years and the numbers a little bit and just make like approximations of what you were reading or what you think you were reading in 2009. Also, some of the questions are general enough that you probably could get by answering them outside of like the first couple ones. So yeah, let me just like jump right in. And of course, there are 10 questions that I have to answer because, it's the 10-year challenge, so I had to make it 10 questions. Okay, the first question is, what was your favorite book that you read in 2009? Like I said, I had a Goodreads account back then, so it wasn't very hard for me to find it. And the book that I rated 5 stars that year was A Thousand Splendid Suns by Clea Tosini. I don't think I need to talk about this book at all because this is a very popular author and a very popular book. But on the off chance, if you haven't read him yet, I still highly, highly recommend him. He's written 3 novels so far, and I think like a kid's book or something along those lines. And I highly recommend all 3 of his novels. I've loved all of them. But yes, I read this one in 2009, even though it came out earlier. A trend that you're going to see is all of the books I talk about from that time period are probably going to be a little bit older than 2009 because at that point in time, like I said, I graduated from college in May of 2009, so I did not have money. So if I spent money on books, they were going to be paperbacks, which meant they were backlist. All right, the second question is, what is your favorite book of 2019? And that is The Collected Schizophrenias by Esme Wei-Wing. This is one of 2 books I rated 5 stars this year. I'll link up on the cards my review for this if you want to see my full thoughts on it. But this is a book that I adore so much, and I'm so happy that I read it, and I've been recommending it nonstop since I read it like over the summer and the spring. Next is, what was your least favorite read in 2009? And so I was looking at my Goodreads shelf. There were a couple of books that I marked as 2-star reads, but there was one book I didn't rate at all and I marked as a DNF. I very rarely mark DNFs, so I found it really interesting that this year happened to have one. And so it is The Enchantress of Florence by Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie, again, is very well-known author, and at this point in time I was just graduating college. I didn't really know a whole lot about the book world or anything like that, and so the vast majority of the time when I was trying to read things, it was either things that were featured on the Borders tables or author that I had heard about, so like really well-known authors. And so obviously Salman Rushdie is really well known, and I think The Enchantress of Florence was sitting on a Borders table, so I picked it up, couldn't get through it, gave up on it, and then pretty soon after that, I started hearing things about how Salman Rushdie is not the greatest person, and so I was okay with never just reading his books. The next question is, what was your least favorite read of 2019? And I'm not someone who talks a lot about the books that I don't enjoy that much anymore here on this channel, just because I haven't been making as much content, and so I tend to focus on the books that I really love to encourage people to pick them up. The other thing is that I'm a much heavy DNFer now than I was in the past, to the point where I don't even bother keeping track of the books that I DNF anymore. And a lot of times my DNFs aren't necessarily like judgments on the books themselves. It's just like my mood, and I know that the book just isn't right for me, sort of thing. So I went through and I found the books that I rated like 2 stars this year, and the one that I would pick as being like my least favorite out of the batch is A Woman Is No Man by Ataf Rum. This one came out, I think, at the beginning of the year, or maybe it came out last year even. But I was so disappointed by that book. I think because it started off so strong, but then it ended so weakly. There was a reviewer on Goodreads who summed it up really well. I'll try to link to her review specifically down in the description. But there was just such a lack of nuance with this story. Like it felt so heavy-handed, and after a certain point in time it felt like it was just going in circles and talking about the same things over and over again. It felt like there was a specific story that this author wanted to write, and she had done that within like the first 100 pages, and then after that she didn't really know what to do. And so like by the end of the book I just wanted to like throw it across the wall. The only thing it had going for it that made me finish it is that it's a really fast read, but it was not an enjoyable fast read. So next is, what is a book that was published in 2009 that you still want to read? And so I googled sort of books published in 2009, and there are a bunch of like different Goodreads lists that have really popular books that were published in 2009, and looking through them I feel like I've read a lot of the ones that I would be interested in, and the other ones that are popular are not ones that I really care to pick up. But I did see that Soulless by Gail Carriger was published in 2009, and that's a book that I have been wanting to read for like years now. Like I feel like it's been talked about since I've been on BookTube, like from the beginning of my BookTube days, and is like beloved by everyone, and it looks like a really fun fantasy series, and it's a book that I keep meaning to pick up, and I kind of just want to like buy a copy of it so it's sitting on my shelf, which will like force me to read it at some point. Next is, what is a book that was published in 2019 that you want to get to before 2020? So I've been seeing a lot of people do their sort of like end of the year lists and TBRs and stuff like that. And so I specifically wanted this question to be about books that were published this year that you're really hoping to get to. And there are a handful that I have on my list, but I think the one that's at the top of the list is All This Can Be Yours by Jamie Attenberg. Think the only reason why I haven't read this book yet, I know the only reason why I haven't picked this book up yet is because I've been trying to like curb my book spending lately. And so I've been on hold for this one at the library since before it came out. And it's finally coming for me. So I don't have a copy in my hands, but I know it's waiting for me at the library. So I plan on picking it up this week and reading it like as soon as possible / before the end of the year. 7 is, what is a genre that you used to read a lot of that you don't read as much of anymore? And I had a hard time with this one because again, I was looking at the books that I read back in 2009, and it's mostly like the ratios are a little bit different, but it's mostly the same combination of literary fiction, contemporary fiction, historical fiction, and then some like fantasy and mystery thrown in there, and a little bit of nonfiction sprinkled in as well. So what I went for is white dudes. Like, I think that what I don't read as much of anymore are books written by white men, to be completely honest, and I'm okay with that. I was looking through my reading list from this year. The only books by white men that I've read were The Billion Dollar Whale and the Thomas Jefferson biography I read this year. And so yeah, I think that honestly, like outside of those specific types of like nonfiction books where it's a very specific concept or story or something that I really want to read about, and usually it's only ever white guys who have written about them. So outside of those like unavoidable circumstances, I generally don't read that many books by white dudes, and I'm okay with that. 8 is, what is a genre you've discovered since 2009? And so for me, that is romance. I didn't read any romance novels prior to that point. I read some like chick lit type books like Meg Cabot and The Devil Wears Prada and those types of books, but I never read like full-blown romance until recently. Number 9 is, what is a reading or book habit you are hoping to leave behind in this decade? Whew, okay, so I had a hard time with this one because I like the way that my reading has been going recently. Like, I feel like I read pretty diversely and whatnot, but the thing that I've realized that I want to leave behind in this past decade, and a thing that I'm working on, is not using Amazon as much as possible. So this is not me putting judgment on people who use Amazon, but I do think that Amazon's one of those companies that if you have the choice not to use them, it's probably better if you didn't. But I know not everyone has that choice. But for me, I basically stopped shopping on Amazon. Like, I looked at my Amazon history, and I purchase from them like maybe twice a year, and it's usually in situations where I can't find the thing anywhere else. I started becoming someone who cares a lot about shopping locally in physical stores, so I do that whenever I can. And if I do order things online, I just try to avoid using Amazon if possible. I've canceled my Audible account. I own an Amazon Kindle, but I don't buy Amazon Kindle books. I only use it to download the rare advanced reader copies I get, or to download ebooks from the library. And yeah, I know it's not like easy to completely disconnect yourself from Amazon, but I'm working on it. I'm also like making small steps, like I have affiliate links in my videos for Book Depository, and Book Depository is owned by Amazon. And so like I don't think I'm gonna have affiliate links in my videos anymore, which is fine. I mean, it's not like I made that much money from affiliate links. You know, just like little things like that. I'm slowly making the transition to just not using the company if possible. So that's just my own personal choice. But yeah, I think it's just one of those things like Facebook where I just need to leave it in the past. And number 10 is, what is the new reading goal or habit that you want to create in the upcoming decade? So I've been, as you guys are aware, slowly like diversifying my reading and trying to broaden my horizons in terms of what I'm picking up. And I feel like not the main, but one of the biggest blind spots I have is reading books by and about people with physical disabilities, or even just general disabilities, whether it's mental or physical. I didn't read any books by or about people with physical disabilities, I don't believe. And so I want to make that a more conscious habit as well, and start seeking those books out and prioritizing those books. And hopefully, like I did with, women and authors of color and stories that take place around the world, once I start like prioritizing those books, it'll naturally become a habit. So yeah, I think just that, and sort of like continuing to broaden my horizons in terms of what I'm reading and picking up and paying attention to and stuff like that, is always a good thing. So yeah, I think that'll be a good goal to work on for the next decade. So that is everything. Like I said, if you want to do this tag, you are more than welcome to do it. I usually don't tag people in tag videos because I'm usually one of the last people to do a tag video, so I'm not like used to picking out people to tag. But since I'm the originator of it, I feel like I should tag some people. But obviously, again, feel free to do it. The questions are down in the description if you just want to like copy and paste them. But the specific people I'm going to tag are Rachel Ray, Olive from a Book Olive, Simon from Savage Reads, Heidi from My Reading Life, and Claire from Claire Reads Books. But yes, please feel free to do the tag, share the tag, do whatever you do with tags, and make sure you tag me on like Twitter or Instagram if you post about it, because I would love to see other people's answers. Or you can actually just leave a comment down below if you make a video about it with your video, because I'll just like make sure to track the comments on this video more closely and make sure they're not just going straight to spam. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.